Well, hello, hello, hello. Latanya Washington here. And tonight we are going to be talking about on this here night school about how to cope with transition. So many people are going through transition. We're dealing with so much stuff. And as I did before in years past, we talked about real talk. And so tonight I just wanted to just shed light on that and um, the the meaning of going through frustration and transition, and then being able to share with you some things that I went through transition on within the past several years, as well as you all what I did and what many of you all are doing to get through that level of transitioning to your next phase. All right. And so let's talk about this on tonight. And I want to hear you all's comments. Feel free to share in the chat room. I see some of you guys are already here. I'm excited about it. We're going to talk about that this afternoon. You all ready? Let's go. Hey, you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome to Night School here with your host, Latanya Washington. And as you all see, it is just me. But I want to be able to pull some of you all up into the conversation. I see you all in the chat room. Hey, Doc Harris, and I see Miss Love Jones, Rachel. I see you too, McKenna. I'm excited about talking about this tonight because one thing we know for sure is we are now in a season where so many people are going through transition. And a lot of times we don't know how to cope with it. We don't know who we can talk to help us get through it. And as for me, you all, and I'm sure you all are here, hey, just going through it, and then really a lot of times feeling that you are all alone and there is no one else that you can talk to or really understand what you're dealing with. And so I want to encourage us tonight, and I know you all will be able to encourage others on tonight as well on dealing with it. For me, even before I get into it, you guys, for me, and I'm sure you all as well, so glad you are here too, McKenna. You all as well, dealing with this level of transitioning. At the end of the day, how many of you all are dealing with it right now? When you think about it, we are literally in a pandemic. Many people are still without work. They cannot find jobs. They're trying to find purpose. And I wanted to talk to you in regards to that level as well. Well, first of all, let me share some light on me just to start. Coming here, you all from Ohio, surrounded by family and friends, and then being transitioned into a state, coming to California, to a place that um, I knew absolutely nothing about. And that was a major transition for me, even at a young age. But one thing I began to realize, all things were working together for my good. But can you only imagine, and I know you guys are here, can you only imagine going through that turmoil at a young age? Then, of course, married at the time, and then, later on becoming pregnant and in a place so far away from home. For me, that was a level of transitioning. However, it took me from that place of dealing in a structured household, understanding structure, to literally being catapulted into unstructure, into new territory. And so what it did, it allowed me to grow up. And to become even the person that I am now, and allowed me to learn flexibility. It allowed me to be able to say, okay, I can adapt to that. And over time, I began to realize that I was able to adapt. And so I'm sure that many of you guys as well have had to deal with that situation. And I still remember too, for me, just going through divorce, that was another level of transitioning that I had to deal with. And so not only just that, but then too, working for a company, as I shared before, working for a company. I was a contractor for a company who I had been with forever, and then finding out that they no longer they were going under. And so that was another level of transitioning for me. And so I wanted to talk about this because at the end of the day, I had to learn to cope. Um, and I'm curious to know, how do you all literally cope with going through transition? You can definitely share some light in here in our chat room with me on today, because I'm gonna tell you all, the only way that I literally was able to cope with going through is I had to be surrounded with people that literally were able to pull me through. Were okay. I had to be surrounded with people that were able to pull me through. Dr. Harris said, did not realize our lives. Oh, yes, honey. Okay, okay, okay. But I literally had to have someone to pull me through. For me, I still remember my best friend would literally make me go back and reflect and begin to look at the accomplishments that were already made. Now I'm talking to someone already. Hey, sis, I see you. And she said, my sis said, yes, transition is real. It is so real, because honestly, you all, if it had not been for other things as well, but literally, I had a friend who said, come on, reflect back on your previous accomplishments and realize where you came from. And another thing I had to realize, you all, is giving myself permission to sit where I was right then and there and say, it's okay. Because a lot of times, things come into our lives, things come into our path that sometimes you have control over, and sometimes you have absolutely no control over. And so you literally have to, if you have to cry it out, I always say, cry it out. You have to cry it out. Dr. Harris says she copes through prayer and some good friends. I'm trying to tell you, I'm y'all, if you don't understand anything tonight, you gonna need, as she said, prayer, and you gonna need some good friends to help pull you through the process. But at the end of the day, you all, learning how to cope through through transition is, I don't even, some people may call it a skill. Do you guys consider that to be a skill? It is something that I believe, honestly, I believe it is something that you learn to adapt to do. A lot of times we begin to go through a transition period many times and don't even realize we're going through transition. But on the inside of us, we're dealing with chaos. We're dealing with frustration. We're dealing with the fact that sometimes we feel that there's no self-worth, or we literally, we literally tear ourselves down. And it is God that is literally trying to move us into the next level, into our next phase. And so I want us to begin to realize this will not be our only transition. Even through this pandemic, going into the next phase, we're going to transition again. And at the end of the day, you never know when transition is going to happen. Yes, Rachel said, first, you must evaluate your skill sets and either build upon that, either start your own business or go back to school. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That's a transition period because Dr. Vet said no control requires prayer. If I can control accountability partners and writing things out, yes. And two, I'm going to go back even with what Rochelle said. This is some good stuff, you guys. Thank you so much for sharing. Even with that, you guys, I'm going to say this too. honestly, even when I went through transition and the company that I was a contract for had been with them for years. I mean, literally to the point where I took it for granted. I remember it was my sister. I think my sister is still here. My sister is here who said, well, maybe you want to go back to school. That was a transitional period for me. And I literally end up going back to school and now in a place that I never thought I would be in right now. So I want to literally encourage you guys. It takes people to put that thing in your ear. Sometimes it just takes you always you being still and saying, what is my next move? But as I think I was talking to Rochelle previously, sometimes we don't take our time to be still enough and allow God to speak to us and say, hey, all right, I need you to be still and hear me so you can make this next move. And so sometimes it takes him using people to literally come in and pour into you and take you to that next level. Like McKenna said, sometimes we don't have all the answers. You all are preaching up in this piece tonight. I'm about to turn some light on. Share some light. But we don't have all the answers. We really, really don't. And sometimes we just have to sit back. And as I said previously, you got to sit back. We should be sitting back and just evaluating where I'm supposed to go, but being still enough to be able to hear the next direction. And so I just wanted to talk about that because we are literally, now they're saying the numbers of the proportion of people that now are dealing with COVID-19. You got so many people in hospitals, ICU, people passing on a daily basis. And, but in the midst of it all, guess what? We are still here. We're still having the activities of our limbs. We're still able to speak to one another. We're still able to encourage one another. We still are able to cry on the shoulders of one another. And therefore, you know what? I always tell us like my sister, she just said, transitions are bridges. That's true. Transition they are bridges getting us from that next okay, Rochelle, we've been talking about this for a minute. But transition is bridges. It's to get us to the next place, because guess what? We can't stay where we are. Otherwise we are like little babes still sucking on milk, and it is now time to eat meat. I don't care what age you are at in life. You will always go through a phase, or you will go through that period wherever God wants you to go next to, of transitioning. And so I literally wanted to just make sure that you all are encouraged, and that we, as McKenna said, amen. Okay, we ain't gonna preach on here this afternoon. I'm trying not to go preachy. But at the end of the day, you guys, one thing I want us always to know, that God is good, and that he has everything under control. And that even when we go through transition, it may not feel good. We may be dealing with the internal chaos. We may be dealing with the frustration and feeling that we are lower than the low. But when we all come out of it and you look back and you reflect back, you realize it was all for our good, and that it was something not just for us. Because a lot of times, us going through transition, it's good for us, but it's also to help people that are coming behind us to follow suit. I always talk about, we as leaders, we lead with purpose. When we transition, a lot of times it is on purpose. It is for purpose. It is for other people to come along behind us and say, if they were able to transition, being authentic in everything that they went through, I can do it too. And so I want us to make sure that even you all that will be listening to this later on, and you guys that are here, I'm so excited because we are in a next phase in our lives, that we are being taken and we are being elevated to the next place, so we too can help other people that are coming behind us. And as Rachel said, ask the Lord for his perfect plan for your life. Jeremiah 29:11. Okay, see, y'all better pull out those Bibles and read it for yourself, because at the end of the day, we are going to always go through transition. It may be you going through transition on a monthly basis, yearly, however it is. But I definitely wanted to shed some light. And what I wanted to say to you guys, when you're going through transition, because a lot of times people don't know what to do next. What am I supposed to do when I'm going through transition? Yvette said, your transition is the hallway you walk on the way to your next open door. Okay, now see, I'm going to jump on up and down up in this piece because y'all talking. And so too, I wanted to shed some light too on people that really don't know what to do next. In your level, in your time of transitioning, I say what you need to do, you need to slow down and pay attention. Pay attention to what is being said. Pay attention to what God is trying to say to you. A lot of times, pay attention even to the things that people around you who really, really care and have authentic love for you are saying to you. It can be for your good. A lot of times we want to buck against a thing, but a lot of times it is for our good. And so one thing you want to do is you want to slow down and you want to pay attention. A lot of times I always say you got to be very, very strategic in everything that we do. And one thing that I've noticed, a lot of times we don't sit down and write stuff down. I literally will write everything down, but we got to sit down, we have to slow down, and we have to begin to pay attention. Another thing we want to say you all is, remember, transition is only temporary. You go through that phase, you get to where you're supposed to be, and you sit in it. Just sit in that time when you get to that next level. Remember, transition is only temporary. Another thing, as I said before, when you're going through transition, talk about it and lean on, and I'm going to say this, talk about it and lean on strong relationships. Now, come on. When you're going through transition, you cannot be around people who are negative and saying, girl, me too. Oh my goodness. What we going to do today? We going to lay down and die? No, 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 no. When you are going through transition, you want to talk about it and lean on strong relationships. You want to be around those people that will push you and say, come on, reflect. You can cry, but we got to get up from here and we have to move on. And a lot of times, we don't sit back and we do not reflect on our accomplishment. Sometimes you got to sit back and say, I did good in the past. I did good. Now it's time for me to go to the next level. Which I say, change is good. Change is good. Embrace your purpose. You got to embrace your purpose, you guys. You got to do it. And then too, as we said, it's a temporary situation. It is not permanent. And so in that, transition is only temporary. Yes, we need strong relationships. You got to have them strong relationships, you guys. I'm a strong believer. And even in my very own situation, if it wasn't for those strong relationships, I don't know where I would be now. And so I'm glad that I was able to talk and I was able to lean on strong relationships. And then too, you have to be able to be open and honest, even in talking about it, without hiding what you're really feeling and what you are going through. And so those are ways in which you cope with this, you guys. And next, you want to keep moving. Even if you got to get across the bridge on a broken piece of wood, you got to take baby steps. You got to be willing to push yourself forward, and move from there. And so we have to be willing to do it. Yes. Encourage yourself in the Lord. We have to. And sometimes that means when we're encouraging ourselves in the Lord, We got to pull out some good music. You got to pull out some good music that is encouraging, that is uplifting. You don't want to sit back because everything is spiritual, and you want that special stuff in your psyche, in your spirit, that is going to uplift you and say, "Yes, I can get through this process." And so I simply wanted to jump in this afternoon, and I wanted to encourage each and every one of you all, because we are going through transitional phases right now. And in the process of it all, get close, connect with friends that you know that will be by your side and help pull you up to the next level. Get to yourself, be still enough, and pay attention to the words that you are hearing that God is saying to you. And even He will speak through friends. Remember, as it said in the Bible, He spoke through a donkey. So He'll even speak through friends that will help pull you through your next level. Express yourself to yourself. Take baby steps. It is the only way, you guys, because we deal with stuff. We are dealing with so much even now. And I'm telling you, for me personally, I have friends that I will go to and I'll be like, look, this is what I'm dealing with now. I don't know how to get to my next level. What is your suggestion? How can you help me? What is it there? And the minute that my spirit clicks and I feel something there, that's when I know, all right, this is the direction I'm supposed to go in. And we have to, you guys, we have to be willing to allow ourselves to go to the next level, because it is the place in which our purpose is to take us into. Yes, love yourself first. Put your own mask on first, then help others. Now, that's another topic of discussion. When you are going through transition, you all, and that's something we tend to do. A lot of times we even mask going through transition, and we're trying to help so many other people and not realizing we're going through stuff ourselves. And that means too, we're going through stuff, and then we won't even allow ourselves to heal and go through the process. So we just like, okay, I won't deal with my stuff now. I'm going to try to help somebody else. But baby, sit yourself down. As the old folks say, I'm going to say what the old folks say, but they say, go sit your tail down. And we have to, I know sometimes I'll say, go sit in timeout, go sit in the corner. And we have to do that many times when we're going through transition, because God is trying to speak to us so we can get to our next purpose and we can get to our next level. Yes, surround yourself with those who are at, you got to surround yourselves who are people who are at higher levels when you're transitioning, you all. And so I wanted to say those things on this afternoon because, yeah, healing is a process. It sure is. And then, as McKenna said, step back and take care of you. We have to step back and we have to take care of ourselves, because transition, honestly, you all, it is not an easy place to be in. It does not feel good. It feels very chaotic. It can become very frustrating, and it will make you, if you are not careful, it can send you down a path of depression. Of course, you're getting frustrated. And then once you go down that path of depression, now we're going down a rabbit hole. And so I simply wanted to encourage you all on this evening during this process, because we literally now are in a state of transition during this pandemic. We're about to hit 2021, you all. And I always tell people, before I even go into a new year, I have a motto. I create my very own motto and say, this is what I know I'm supposed to be transitioning into, even when it comes into a new year. Just putting myself out there and say, this is what I know that I need to accomplish. This is what I know I need to do in that level, because we can't stay where we are. We have to move higher. We have to move up. Yes. And as Yvette says, you must be kind to your... But how many people are not kind to themselves? Speak on it. You must be kind to yourself, as kind as you are to all those you help. Now that's another subject, because a lot of times we're not kind to ourselves. We're beating ourselves up. And so I want us, and I want people who are listening, thank you for bringing that up. I want people who are listening to realize, be kind to yourself. I mean, whatever you need to do to be kind to you in the process of going through your level of transition. And people go through different levels of transitioning, but learn to be kind to yourself. Y'all are good. Y'all are good up in this piece. And as Rochelle, healing is it's a process. And a lot of times when we're going through transition, you all, we have to learn that we have to be still enough to allow ourselves to heal. I am so excited. Even you all, so many people now are trying to get out of 2020. But you know what? 2020, even when I look back and I reflect on it, I have to sit back and say, God, I thank you, because it opened up my eyes to so many new things. It opened up my eyes to places in which I realized I could step into. It opened up my eyes to people, places, and things. So in 2020, and I know when we went into 2020, people were talking about 2020 vision. Well, you know what? I began to realize that was so true, because it opened up our eyes to so many things. And so for 2020, yes, be kind and encourage yourself. So true, so true. So in 2020, you all, was a level of new vision. It opened up our eyes to see a lot of things. And now we can go into 2021, I say, with a plan, with strategy, and realizing even in the midst of this level of transitioning, we are still okay. God knows where we are. There's nothing happening that he didn't already know about, and that all he wants is all things for us to be in places, in good places, and he wants nothing but prosperity and good things to happen in our lives. And so I'm excited, honestly. I'm excited about 2021. I'm excited about, as people call it, the shift, the pivot, the transition, whatever you want to call it. Yvette says transitions require patience with yourself first, and then with others whom you may need to get to your next, who you may need to get to your next stage of life. Patience is very key. So that's one level in which we have to realize, that's one area in which we have to realize too, is patience. As the word says, be anxious for nothing, but in everything by prayer and supplication, letting our requests be made known. And so on that note, I just wanted to encourage you, everyone that may be going through transitional periods right now and you don't know what to do. Find that strong relationship. Or if you don't have it, speak to God and ask him to send someone in your life that you know you can cry on, that shoulder you can cry on, that person you can connect with. To make sure you are still enough, sit down and pay attention to what's happening around you. Know that it is only a temporary thing. This transitional phase is only a temporary thing. It's to catapult you into your next purpose, and simply keep moving. Even if it means, you all, a lot of times it's simply baby steps. I haven't seen anybody catapult into something. It's always a baby step to get to that next level. And so thank you guys so much for coming in. Yes, patience builds character. Character builds hope. Thank you guys so much for being a part of Night School. I'm excited about you all's future. I'm excited about the things that are coming in all of our directions, coming in our way. May God continue to bless each and every one of you. My prayer is that you prosper and are in good health, even as your soul prospers. Good night. Thank you guys so much again for joining me on